I want to tell you about the photo that changed my career and how doing something similar can change your career as well. At the end, that's what we're going to go through. I'm going to tell you my story and then I'm going to tell you how you can do the same. Now, I've been a photographer for professionally maybe 15 years. It's been a while. I had hair and no beard when I started, and it's kind of been like a migration ever since. Throughout my years, I was a jobbing photographer. Now, being a jobbing photographer is no slight. It is no bad career. It's fine. But it's not what I wanted. I've always been very elitist. I've always wanted the big jobs. I've always wanted to be the Annie Leibovitz photographer, not Jim down the road who comes and does your family portrait and then at the weekend does a wedding and then on Thursday goes and shoots a local cafe. But that's what I was. For many moons, I was that. And then eventually I started to get a bit better. I got a bit sort of into self-improvement and off I went trying to do these things. And I got better and I got an agent. And that was the start of things. I started shooting adverts and it was cool. I was no longer the local jobbing photographer. I was the national jobbing photographer. I was shooting adverts for food, for fashion, for hair, all sorts of adverts. I was doing all right. I made a comfortable living. I made enough money to not have to worry. It was nice. I enjoyed myself. It was good. Now, my career I have at the moment is very different to that. The fees I charge per day now are more than I used to make in a year then. And money is not everything. I want to make that very abundantly clear. And also, money is not everything to me. Actually, money is very low down on my agenda of things I care about. But what this money does is says that I've reached a level. And I like that. It's like a point system. I come from a sporting background. I like to be told I'm doing well. And that's what the money does for me. So just put that into context there, first of all. It's not like I'm going around driving in a Porsche. I drive a Kia Picanto, I'm not a flashy guy. This is my tablecloth now as a jacket because why waste? But this photo changed my life. I was, as I'm sure many of you were, having a bit of a crisis during COVID. So during COVID, I was with my lovely agent, Graham. We were doing work, shooting adverts. I shot some stuff for Doritos, from Pepsi, shot some stuff for Dolmio. I shot some stuff for Papa John's. We were doing good. It wasn't a bad run of things. We were making hay. But I wasn't what I wanted to be. I wasn't the artist I wanted to be. And as horrific as COVID was, it gave me an opportunity. It allowed me to take a step back and reassess. And I took my step back, but there we were in Chipping Norton, celebrating a birthday. And I was sat there reading an article, and some of you will have heard this story before, so I'll keep it brief. I read an article about pop art. Now, I can't read very well. I'm very dyslexic. And my partner was quite shocked that I was reading because it's a real effort for me to read. And she was like, what are you reading about? I was like, I just love this artist. I love this sort of work. It's brilliant. And she said, the really obvious thing, why don't you do it? And to that, I said, yeah, why not? Now, in any other set of circumstances, if we were on that big steamroller still of working non-stop, I'd have gone, I can't do that. I'm working. I've got adverts to shoot. I've got client work to deliver. I haven't got time to reinvent myself as an artist. But the stars aligned, and that's what I did. And I took this picture of spaghetti hoops. I'm going to tell you why it's so important and why it's this image that changed my career. Now, firstly, the image itself, I shot on my kitchen floor because we're in lockdown. I had one single light, I had one reflector, and I had a 100mm Zeiss Milvus lens and a 5DSR with a pretty bad tripod. I wanted to take images that looked like my childhood's food. I wanted to photograph my childhood in a bold and graphic style. Something I hadn't done before, something I hadn't even considered. All of my shots were these intricate food photographs with a million things going on, really complex narratives, really complex composition, ridiculous lighting setups, insane lighting setups. I have like 8 lights on set. And I was going to undo all of that technical proficiency. I am a very technically proficient photographer. I pride myself in, we got asked to do a job once, and it was to photograph curved dog food bowls with food inside them with no reflections on the inside or outside. And I was like, yeah, no problem, I can do that. 30 minutes later, we're good to go. This was undoing everything I prided myself on. This was placing one light on the other side of the room, turning it on to full power and just lighting it. It's like, here is light, before I'd be crafting and sculpting and all the rest of it. But I went, no. I know I can do that. My client doesn't care how technically proficient I am. What looks best? What looks good? There goes my light. Got my spaghetti hoops now. In the past, there'd be props, there'd be backgrounds, all this great stuff. But what is the essence of spaghetti hoops? As a child, it would just be a plate of them because we didn't come from a particularly rich background. I just have a plate of spaghetti hoops. And to be honest, they'd definitely not be Heinz. They'd be the budget supermarket brand. But plate of spaghetti hoops. So we set them out, carefully tweezed them into position until they looked pleasing. Not perfect, not complex composition, pleasing. We had pleasing light, we had a pleasing subject matter, and we had a pleasing composition. And that was where I left it. For years leading up to that point, I would have finessed it. I would have sculpted the light, added reflectors, flags, scrims, all this stuff. But no, one, I didn't have that available to me. And two, it wasn't what I was trying to achieve. I sent this image out to all of the agents in London who'd been ignoring me for years. And I sent it with the body of work I created during that lockdown. Every single agent got back to me. Up until this point, I'd been struggling to get into the big agencies. I say, I mean a photographic agent, like a rep, not ad agencies. I've been struggling to get with the big photo agents. They weren't interested in my work because it looked like everybody else's. But having done this, it changed my career. And here's what you need to do. You need to think, what is the essence of who you are? What is it that if you could do one photo only, you'd be doing? What is it that makes you, you? That is what we are as photographers. We're individual people with our voices. Don't go, well, I'm going to do a bit of this like Joey L style. I'm going to do a bit of this Annie Leibovitz style. No, who are you? What is it that makes you the person that people gravitate toward? What is it that makes you unique? That is what you're selling as a commercial photographer. And if you just take the time out, and I know it's hard, the only reason I was able to do it was because there was a lockdown going on. But set that time aside. I cannot stress enough to you how important it is. And create that one image that is you. Send it out to all the photo agents, all of the art buyers, and see what their response is. I bet it's better than anything you've sent out in the past. Now, if you want to build a commercially viable body of work, I have a workshop on that. I'll pop a link down below, and that will help you understand how to create your own unique body of work and how to package it in a way that people will be interested in hiring you for those big jobs. I hope this has been useful to you. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.